Jungle.
Alright, so it's 30 minutes past 9. I welcome you to another exciting edition of From the Newspaper, streaming live from the premises of the Aces Hotel, Akwete, Ibadan. Good morning to you all listening to FM 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at FM 97.3. And as you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. Remember, don't forget this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are transmitting live from. Where the second segment on the show is the headlines make round of Nigerian newspaper. And as usual, let's bring 4 newspapers to you every morning: the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and Nigerian Tribune. Where the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is SHAQEEROH AKINYEMI. So moving on to the first segment on the show, which is the weather forecast report. And the first detail I'm bringing on is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning is mostly sunny with 26 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is mostly sunny with 27 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. is mostly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is mostly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is mostly sunny with 30 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is mostly sunny with 29 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is mostly sunny with 28 degrees Celsius. Up until 6 p.m. is mostly sunny with 26 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is mostly clear with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 25 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 23 degrees Celsius. And at 10 p.m. is cloudy with 22 degrees Celsius. At 11 p.m. is cloudy with 21 degrees Celsius. At 10 a.m. in the commercial city of Lagos this morning is cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is rain with 30 degrees Celsius. And at 12 p.m. is cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is cloudy with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is rain with 29 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is rain with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 6 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 8 p.m. is mostly clear with 27 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 10 p.m. is partly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. Up until 11 p.m. is partly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. So moving on to the last city on the first segment, which is the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are streaming live from. At 10 a.m. in Ibadan this morning is mostly cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is rain with 28 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is rain with 29 degrees Celsius. And at 1 p.m. is rain with 30 degrees Celsius. At 2 p.m. is rain with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 3 p.m. is cloudy with 33 degrees Celsius. At 4 p.m. is cloudy with 31 degrees Celsius. And at 5 p.m. is cloudy with 30 degrees Celsius. At 6 p.m. is cloudy with 28 degrees Celsius. And at 7 p.m. is cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. At 8 p.m. is cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 9 p.m. is cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. Up until 10 p.m. is cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. And at 11 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 23 degrees Celsius.
Jungle.
Also, moving on to the second segment, which is the headlines make round of Nigerian newspaper. And the first newspaper we're bringing on is the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning says, Convention, Lamido, Turaki, McAfee leads PDP chairman race, and page 2 has the detail to that story. And there's one right out with that story that says, Northwest PDP set to pay consensus chair as party zoning favor region. Party set for convention, and page 2 has the analysis to that story. And above the line of the Punch newspaper this morning says, during the late APC move M. Silva, Lokporibe power talks, and page 2 has the detail to that story. Presidency can clash over Christian genocide claims, and page 26 has the detail to that story. Still on the Punch newspaper, another story says, Niger governor mourns as 35 killed in tanker explosion, and page 4 and 5 has the analysis to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Presidential pardon, AGF order multi-agency probe, and page 2 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Another story on the Punch newspaper says, Sanwo-Olu, Fayose, Ambode, Lagos APC endorsed Tinubu re-election, and page 9 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
MDA is under fire as federal government probes TSA violations, and page 9 has the detail to that story. Another story on the Punch newspaper says, Hit and Run driver kills Lagos director days before retirement, and page 5 has the detail to that story. And the last story on the Punch newspaper says, Amaputon resumes next week ahead of Anambra poll, and page 9 has the detail to that story. So moving on to the Vanguard newspaper, the latest story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, Abuja protest, court demands Kanu's lawyer, brother 10 others in prison, and page 5 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there are a lot of writers to that story. The first writer says, defendant counted war songs, police allege. I'm safe but still in Kuje prison, says Ejimako. Wabara demands release of Kanu's brother orders. Another writer says, we are mimicking democracy, says Farutimi. Another writer says, fourth police judiciary. And the last writer says, Action Aid Amnesty International condemn assault on protesters, and page 5 has the analysis to that stories.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
73% rural residents says inflation rate is high, says CBN, and page 20 has the detail to that story. Another story on the Vanguard newspaper says, why governors orders are defecting to APC, says Governor Sule, and page 9 has a detail to that story. ISWA plans fresh attacks in Ondo, Kogi, says DSS. And there's one writer to that story that says Ondo Police CP hosts security meeting, and page 7 has analysis to that stories. We will go after enemies of our sovereignty, says CDS, and page 8 has the detail to that story. Another story on the Vanguard newspaper says, court nullifies a boy 2024 local government election. Sack chairmen, councillors, and page 34 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Tanker explosion. Over 30 killed in Niger, scoping fuel from falling tankers, and page 7 has the detail to that story. Why Nigeria should not be designated country of concern, says Kuka, and page 14 has the details to that story. And the last story on the Vanguard newspaper is about sport. It says 2026 World Cup qualifier, NFF rolls out plan for Super Eagles playoffs, and page 39 has the detail to that story. Also moving on to the Guardian newspaper, the daily story on the Vanguard newspaper said 5G promise fades as piracy phone service shuts out poor Nigerians, and page 6 has the details to that story. On the Guardian newspaper says, sending Islam's life sentence on child defilement to toughen laws on rope, and page 9 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Designates Nigeria country of concern, Kokadip appeals, and page 3 has the details to that story. Still on the Guardian newspaper, another story says, as APC rallies behind Tinubu, ex-ministers wants corruption, poverty pushing nation to hedge, and page 6 has the detail to that story. Oil sector flatters at first pushes government revenue by 31.38 trillion naira, and page 15 has the detail to that story. last story on the Guardian newspaper says OAU student lives in fear as robbers repeatedly raid Morimi Estate Hostel, and page 8 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so moving on to the last newspaper on the second segment, which is Nigerian Tribune. And the latest story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says, why Nigeria should not be designated country of concern, says Bishop Kuka, and page 4 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there are two riders to that story. The first rider says Obama administration slow down fight against Boko Haram under Jonathan. And the last rider says designation will hurt Nigeria more. It hurts, and page 4 has the details to that stories. Another story says Free Nnamdi Kanu protest. Police arrest Kanu lawyer, brothers and 11 others. And page 30 has the detail to that story. Tanker explosion kills 35, injures 46 in Niger. And page 26 has the detail to that story. Another story says Lagos director dies few days to retirement, 60th birthday party. And there's one rider to that story that says to be buried on Friday, and page 5 has the detail to that story. Nigerian Tribunal story says insecurity, any government to regulate activities of scavengers, scrap dealers, and page 3 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Tinubu nominates Duru as minister, forward names to Senate, and page 5 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
2027, Lagos APC endorses Tinubu for second term, and there's one rider to that story that says promise 20 million naira rewards for local government areas with most registered voters, and page 30 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Another story says breakthrough blood test could spot dozens of cancer before symptoms appear, says researchers, and page 5 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Government set ablaze ADC secretariat, disrupt inauguration of party executives in Ekiti, and page 12 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
And there are two riders to that story that says it's an attack on democracy, says Arabeshola. And the last rider says party seeks independent probe, and page 12 has the detail to that story.
Jungle.
And the last Another story on Nigerian Tribune says electricity subsidy hits 1.5 trillion naira, nearly wipes out Disco's half-year revenue, says analysis. MP6 has the detail to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so we have come to the end of the second segment. Before we divert into the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Tony, gbogbo ọ̀yà ni ó mọ̀ pera rẹ̀ lódù. Bó bá jẹ́ níbi tí kábánira mọ́tò láti òkè òkun tàbí ó fẹ́ ra ojúlówó mọ́tò ilé tí ó já lálòpẹ́, iléeṣẹ́ mọ́tò Onabis Automobile òní òye àkànṣí eléyìí tó kalẹ̀ sí kìlómítà 8 Old Ife Road àdójúkọ ilé ìtajà àgbàlódé Brent sọ́ọ̀mì nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Bóyá ẹ̀yin fẹ́ ra mọ́tò tàbí ẹ fẹ́ gbé mọ́tò ránṣẹ́ láti ilẹ̀ òkèrè sórílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà, kódà orí ọ̀fẹ́ wà láti bá yín ṣe àmójútó, láti bá yín ṣe àyẹ̀wò sí mọ́tò yín. Iléeṣẹ́ Onabis Automobile òun gẹ́gẹ́ ni mò ń pè níyàn. Ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ni 0803 371 0636 0803 371 0636. Onabis Automobile. Boom 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 boom.
ìròyìn àsìkò lọ́lọ́kan ọ̀jọ̀kan eré ìdárayá orin tó dùn gbọ́sẹ̀ tí àtàwọn ètò tí ń kọ́ni lọ́gbọ́n ẹgbẹ́ wa kétékété lórí ayélujára wọ̀nyí lórí Facebook àti MFM TV, lórí Twitter àti MFM TV, lórí Instagram àti MFM TV, pẹ̀lú YouTube àti MFM TV. Ilé ìtura DS àwọn tó lápẹ́tẹ́ nílùú Ìbàdàn lákàlẹ̀ sí o. Fún ìpolówó ọjà iléeṣẹ́ yín ẹ lè pè wá sórí nọ́mbà wọ̀nyí o: 081 59 19 42 àti 47. Ẹ tún lè pè wá sórí aago yìí o: 080 22 48 41 pẹ̀lú 24 ni ẹ pè sí o. Mọ́mí àti dádì ẹ̀dọ̀wọ́ MFM ni ẹ mọ̀ gbọ́ lójoojúmọ́ nígbà gbogbo.
The Aces Hotels and Conference Center is one and only event place with a clear difference and tasteful excellence here in the ancient city of Ibadan. For your next and upcoming event, whether marriage engagement, wedding reception, anniversaries, conferences, seminars or birthday, the Aces Hotels and Conference Center is affordable and fully equipped with all imaginable ultra-modern facilities for your total convenience without headache, security, power, environment, parking space, and royal service by their staff. All roads lead to the Aces Hotel and Conference Center today at kilometer 2.5 Ijokodo Akbete Akufo Road, Akere, Ibadan. For booking and more information, call 080-8746-7420, 080-9744-1898, or 080-2869-0012. The Aces Hotels and Conference Center, where comfortability speaks than words.
Ìgbà tó tó gbá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi, kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò. Bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó pójú owó, orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí, àṣà, ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan. Ìkànnì MFM rédíò ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò.
Audio Jungle.
Alright, so welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM 97.3, and as you're watching us, do well to like, comment and share. We are now in the last segment of From the Newspaper this morning, which is the details to the headlines. And the first story bringing on says, Lamido, Turaki, McAfee leads PDP chairman race. Him the growing tension over the forthcoming national convention slot for November in Ibadan, Oyo State. The northern leader of the People Democratic Parties have resolved the son to the national chairmanship position. To the northwest, they move him on notifying the party ahead of the crucial exercise. The point gathered from the PDP leader, who are also involved in the transition process, that during the Northern Stakeholders meeting we held in Abuja last weekend, it was agreed that the Northwest Zone should produce the party national chairman, while the 3 Northern Zones would beat this race, decided to consensus candidates for Hawke's position. Party Inside disclosed that the Northwest Zone was expected to choose among former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, former Minister of Special Duties Tani Turaki San, and former Kaduna of State Governor Ahmed McAfee. The Turaki reportedly enjoying an early majority support in the contest. A third-party official with a direct knowledge of the issue told the Punch that Turaki was likely to emerge as the next PDP national chairman, adding that he enjoyed the backing of key stakeholders, including the few governors now left in the party. The North currently occupies key national workers committee position, including the national chairman, deputy national chairman, North, national legal advisor, national organizing secretary, national youth leader, and national treasurer, as well as the national vice chairman of representing the Northeast, Northwest, and the North Central zones. Although the party has resolved to hold the events in Ibadan, the satisfaction persists, particularly among supporters of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who remain displeased with the leadership of the acting national chairman, Umar Damagun. Wike loyalists are reportedly hanging by the lingering leadership, despite in the South-South battle over the control of party structures in Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Plateau, and other states, as well as disagreements surrounding the micro-zoning of elective office ahead of the convention. The case presided over the Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, was adjourned to November 16 following a disagreement over who was legally authorized to represent the PDP. The party legal advisor Kamaluddin Ajibade's son and Chief Justice Uche's son claimed to be rightful counsel that this major judge to direct them to present evidence of authorization before the next hearing on October 20. Meanwhile, a letter dated October 16 and signed by the 14 members of NWC reaffirmed the decision to remove Ajibade and appoint Chief Uche's son as a replacement. Ajibade, however, maintained that only the National Convention has the authority to remove him. In the fresh twist, the Federal High Court in Abuja on Tuesday fixed October 34th for a judgment of the suit, seeking to halt an Ibadan Convention over alleged violation of the party constitution. Justice Omotosho said the date after hearing arguments for against the suit filed by the aggressive party's member. The plaintiff, Austin Nwanchukwu, Imo PDP chairman, Haman Nana, Abia PDP chairman, and Turana Halaba George, PDP secretary South-South, are asking the court to stop the convention schedule for November 15 and 16, 2025 in Ibadan, Oyo State, where the national officers are expected to be elected. The 9 defendants in the suit are Independent National Electoral Commission, the PDP, the party national secretary, Samuel Hanyawu, national organizing secretary, Umar Pato, and National Working Committee, the National Executive Committee, Umar Damagun, Ali Odefa, and Emmanuel Ogidi. During Tuesday proceeding, Justice Omotosho reaffirmed his earlier order directing all parties to maintain its status quo regarding the convention, warning that it would not hesitate to nullify any action taken in violation of the court directive. Counsel of the plaintiff, Joseph Daudu San, urged the court not to dismiss the case a mere internal party matter, but to view it as an effort to enforce compliance with the 1999 Constitution, the Electoral House 2022, and the PDP Constitution. Daudu urged that the Nigerian Constitution mandated INEC to monitor the Congress of political parties before they can deemed valid. He maintained that no valid Congress were conducted in 14 states before the PDP, NWC, and NEC issued a notice for November convention. However, the party acting chairman, Damagun, represented by Paul Erokoro, urged that the court to decline jurisdiction, arguing that the issue related to the convention and Congress were internal party affairs. AGF further multi-agency probe. The Attorney General of Federation and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi has ordered a multiple agency review on the proposed presidential pardon list. The Punch reports they involved in the probe of the list are Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and Police. The President Bola Tinubu said the priority of submission of the vet list is of official endorsement and aimed to ensure wholly eligible beneficiaries were cleared. The presidential had in excess of the constitutional power granted clemency of 175% convicted of various offences. The pardon was announced by the Attorney General of Federation and the Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi at the Council of the State meeting held on Tuesday, October 9, 2025. Fagbemi listed illegal minors, white-collar victims, drug defenders, foreigners, marginal vendors, Professor Maga Jigaba, Kensoro Miwa, and others. The list beneficiary was divided into 6 categories: those granted pardon, posthumous pardon, including the Ogboni 9, victim of Ogboni 9 honored, presidential clemency, inmates recommended for reduced terms of imprisonment, and inmates on death row whose sentences were communicated to life imprisonment. However, the inclusion of some names on the list sparked controversy. A security laws enforcement and anti-crafted agency opposed the presence of the certain high-profile offenders. The EFCC Independent Corrupt Practice and others related offences Commission NDLEA Police, among others, reportedly moved to halt the release of some individuals on the list. On October 16, Fagbemi, however, cleared out the presidential prerogative of mercy recently announced by the president was still under review and had not been finalized. His clarification came after an official highlighted some of the low-level officials on the committee, smuggling names not originally recommended for clemency. Multiple top of the federal government officials with direct knowledge of the matter confirmed that the list currently undergoing a rigorous screening process has been sent to the EFCC, ICPC, NDLEA, and police, among others, agency of comprehensive background checked by Office of the Attorney General. A top official in the Office of Attorney General of Federation told the Punch that the process was deliberately designed to prevent the repeat of past controversies surrounding questionable pardon. He stressed that the move was in line with the President Bola Tinubu directive to ensure due diligence and transparency. In an official in the presidency with knowledge of the matter also revealed that the outcome of the reviews could lead to removal of a large number of nominees from the list. Others like Mariam Sandra, who was convicted in 2017 for stabbing husband Biliaminu Bello to death, will be revived. While some members Bello family rejected the pardon of Mariam, the father Alhaji Bello Issa, alongside Miriam's father Alhaji Gaba Sandra, addressed a press conference to accept the presidential pardon. Also on the list was Major Alabi Akubo, who was sentenced to the life imprisonment for illegal possession of prohibited firearms, among others. Those were also Kelvin Prosper, whose kidnapping terror spanned Delta, Edo, Rivers, Abia, Benue, and Oyo State, with detention camp in Wari and Kokori Delta. A top official in the presidency told the Punch that the government was determined to ensure that only deserving cases made the final cuts. Another story says, during delays, APC moves Amir Silva, Lokpobiri power talks. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Dewi is reportedly delaying his planned defection to the ruling All Progressive Congress as internal negotiation among key party leaders, including former Governor Timpiro Silva and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Enekin Lokpobiri, continue over control of the party structure in the state. The development has highlighted political tension in Bayelsa, with the People Democratic Party insisting that Duri exists amounts to betrayal of the mandate on which he was elected, while the APC workers behind the screen to finalize his reception plans in Yanogwa. However, barely a week after Duri resigned from the PDP, top shiftings of the APC have hinted that his defection to the All Progressive Party may be formalized as early as next week. Deputy Organizer Secretary of the APC, Nze Chidi Duru, said that the party was open to Duri's joining, stressing that the APC is a large family. They welcome any Nigerian who believe in its vision and leadership. Duri's resignation from the PDP has left Bayelsa political scene unsettled. Before stepping down, rumors were raved that the government plans to join APC following its footsteps of the counterparts in Akwa Ibom and Delta State. Last week, his joint appearance with the former President Jonathan at 2 weeks event in Yanogwa, the commissioner of the Best Western Plus Hotel, and the birthday of the former Senator Emmanuel Walker, fueled speculation of ongoing arrangement between the two. However, Duri's media hates that they remain tightened lips about its next political destination. The Director General, New Media Dr. Kolawole Orikdipe, denying that any political linkage between the resignation and Jonathan, insisting that the governor only waited to receive the former president as a mark of respect. Inside within the Bayelsa APC told the Punch that negotiations with Silva and Lopobiri were still ongoing to ensure a smooth landing for Diri. There are also indications that the current APC state executive might to dissolve and replaced by a caretaker committee to pave the way for Diri's emergency as party leaders in the state. Following now, all eyes on Yanagwa Waje's next few days may determine whether do a Diri political gamble ushers in a new alliance with the APC or trigger a fresh round of political turbulence in Bayelsa State.
Audio Jungle.
Niger governor mourns of 35 killed in tanker explosion. Governor Muhammadu Bango of Niger State has expressed condolence to the families of the victims of tanker explosion that claimed no fewer than 35 lives and left 17 people hospitalized. Bango, in a statement by the chief press secretary, Balogi Ibrahim, on Tuesday evening, described the incident as a worrisome, unfortunate, and pathetic. Punch Metro learned that the incident happened about 2:40 p.m. when the tanker fell on its side in along the accident. The Niger State Police Public Relations Officer Wasiu Abiodun, in a statement sent to the Punch that on Tuesday disclosed that following the incident, some residents had gone to the screen to stop the split petrol. Said that out of the 48 victims affected by the fire, 31 people lost their lives at the spot of the incident, while 17 others sustained varying degree of injuries. Reacting Bago prayed for the repose of the lives of the victim while expressing displeasure toward the act of petrol scoping. The tragedy had that to the growing of list of the tanker-related explosion across the country. Punch Metro reported in January that no fewer than 70 persons were burned to death while scoping petrol from a crashed tanker in Niger State. Similarly, a recent investigation by the Punch Metro revealed that more than 400 people have died in the tanker explosion nationwide over the past years, prompting the federal government to launch a national awareness campaign on the danger of petrol scoping.
Audio Jungle.
Another story says reps moves to intervene Pengassan Dangote refinery dispute. The House of Representatives on Tuesday resolved to intervene in the recent face-off between members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the Dangote refinery, which has disrupted petroleum product distribution nationwide. The resolution of the House following the consideration and adoption of the motion of urgent public importance co-sponsored by Kano and Sokoto lawmakers Al-Hassan Doguwu and Abdusamad Dusaku recently at Tuesday plenary. In a motion titled "The Face-Off Between Pengassan and the Dangote Refinery Leads to Industrial Action," which condemned on September 29, 2025, disrupting the operation as a $20 billion refinery. It also leads to a disruption in Nigeria's crude oil production, with a reported daily loss of approximately 200,000 barrels over 3 days. Disruption worsened the petroleum supply situation across the country, resulting in scarcity and long queues at filling stations in several states, resulting in service hardship for millions of Nigerians. Speaking on the motion, Doguwu, who was represented by the Doguwu Tunda Wade Federal Constituency, Kano State, stressed the need to protect the Dangote refinery, given its strategic significance to the nation's economy. In a contribution, the member representing Chibok Dambuwa Gawon Federal Constituency, Ahmad Jaha, held the House to tread carefully, adding that the call for people probe as a prayed by the motion as well timed. Following the adoption of the motion, the House called the leadership to broker peace between the two parties in the interest of the nation. It further charged the Federal Ministry of Justice and NEBSA to ensure full enforcement and compliance with the provision of Section 5 of the Nigeria Export Processing Zones, as in all relevant free zones operations. And the last story on the show this morning says, Supreme Court reserved judgment in PDP switch challenging reverse emergency rule. The Supreme Court on Tuesday reserved judgment in the suit filed by the People Democratic Party controlled state challenging President Bola Tinubu's declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State. A seven-member panel of justice led by Justice Inyawo Okoro announced reservation of judgment after parties in the suit adopted the written address and process. The plaintiff and Attorney General of 10 PDP governor states, while the federal government and the National Assembly had defendants. In their suit, the PDP state asked the Apex Court to determine whether the president has constitutional authority to suspend elected officials and replace them with the sole administrator under the guise of the state emergency. They also held the court to decide whether Tinubu procedure is proclaiming Rivers Emergency Controversy provision of 1999 Constitution, but the suit was opposed on behalf of the President by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemisan, who filed a plenary objection urging the court to dismiss the suit, which they described it as speculative and lacking merit. A HGF order, the President acted within constitutional responsibility to restore order in Rivers State following the political crisis involving governor, deputy governors, and lawmakers. He maintained that the affected state officials were not removed temporarily, suspended as party measure to safeguard governance, adding that the plaintiffs were trying to be more Catholic than the Pope. Counsel of the National Assembly, Charles Yohila, aligned with Fagbemi's submission and also prayed the court dismiss the case. After hearing all arguments, Justice Okoro announced that the judgment has been reserved and that the date of the delivery would be communicated to the parties in due course. Alright, so we have come to the end of From the Newspaper this morning. Thank you for staying tuned and thank you for tuning in. My name is SHAQEEROH Akinyemi. Good morning.